welcome any non-Muslims that are here today. Say Assalamu alaikum to you, and you're more than welcome to come and attend. This event is for those who are interested in Islam, and this event is for those who are coming back to the Deen and those who have embraced Islam. So Assalamu alaikum to all the non-Muslims who are here. And me and Ahmed was at my house earlier on and we were talking, and it was a great synergy to know that so many people, even though he's in London, I'm here, so many people that he knows, I know as well. And it was crazy, we was connecting up saying, do you know such and such and stuff like that? And I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very proud to have another Jamaican in the house. So you mess with us, it's two now. Now we actually, anyway, look at that. But I'm really glad to have him up here. And Ahmed is a poet, spoken word artist, and again we were talking earlier on about coming to the Deen and stuff, and we had a very similar experience of when we changed. You know, I was very much into the music scene historically and DJing and stuff like that, and brother historically was a MC on the garage scene. And we were talking about the same experience of having an epiphany moment in the club where we were just like, what are you doing here? Yeah? And this is a question that everybody asks themselves at all points of their life, most days, but they don't even realize it. But alhamdulillah, you know, those who have embraced Islam have had that moment, and that moment of clarity. Alhamdulillah, brother is here and he's taking that journey, and we're hoping that we can share in that journey here. So without further ado,
Assalamu alaikum. Actually, you know what? There's a few Jamaicans in the house, actually. The brothers on that table over there, they're Jamaican as well.
They're bigger than me though, so I don't want to mess with them.
MashaAllah, it's so good to be here. Appreciate you guys inviting me down. And I will share with you guys my journey to Islam. So, when I look back at my journey, I can see that, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put various signs in front of me, and it was preparing me to make that step. So if I give you a bit of background about myself, I grew up with my grandmother from the age of 5, and it was quite a typical Caribbean household. So a lot of times, if you can imagine, a lot of reggae music played. There's a lot of patois talking, and there's a lot of friends that are coming over. It was like, our house was like the sort of hotspot where people will come over and basically just socialize and speak about various topics. So as a young boy, I was just hearing a lot of issues or just general things about Jamaica and, you know, anything that you can think of. But all this was like spoken in a Caribbean dialect as well. So that was like my upbringing. So I grew up in an area called Tooting, which is southwest London, and it was quite a diverse area, a lot of Caribbeans there. There was a lot of people from Pakistani background, North African, Turkish, so basically just a very nice place where everybody sort of got along as well. So the first introduction that I had to Islam was a friend of mine, actually, which was quite funny. He was a Caribbean guy. First of all, can everyone hear me? Because yeah, that's fine. He was a Caribbean guy. He was the only Caribbean guy that I knew was a Muslim. And if you can imagine, in my secondary school, we had like groups. So you'll have like the Caribbean people, like the guys with each other, and you had the Asian lot of each other, and then you had some of the whites with each other, and you had people that were like in between as well. Although it was quite segregated, there was no ill feelings, everyone got along, but that was just everyone's preferred sort of group. So we had this Caribbean guy that was with us, his name was Ben, and all throughout the year he would be hanging on with us until it was like Ramadan. And we noticed that he'd be going off with the Asian guys because he was fasting. And that's when we realized that, you know, oh, okay, Ben's doing his Muslim thing again. So he'd be basically in the classroom praying as well. So what they used to do is have a classroom that was open throughout Ramadan, and the guys were going there and they were praying and stuff as well. And I noticed there was a lot of water and stuff and washing and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, he'll be in there doing his thing, and then after Ramadan he'll be back, and then the next year he'll be doing the same thing as well. Admittedly as well, what I used to do, you know when you're young, you do silly things. I used to basically tease him when he was fasting. I used to have a burger in my hand and I used to go like, do you want some? Do you want some? And you know, obviously he'd be looking at me like, it's not funny, I'm not laughing, I'm laughing. But that was my first insight of Islam, and I noticed that obviously there was a Caribbean guy and he was a Muslim. Then, due to like, it was like sort of the late 90s, you had this sort of awareness where black people were identifying themselves, especially the Caribbean people, they were identifying themselves with Africa. And with that, Islam came in the picture as well, especially being from West African heritage. That's obviously quite heavily populated with Muslims as well. And also that was the same time that Malcolm X film came out. So with that, there was just like this great revival of this black awareness, and you know, it was a revival just to say that, you know, black people, that you have been, obviously you're going through a hard time, you've been enslaved and so forth as well, and it was like a sort of upliftment. So the Nation of Islam was on the scene, and with that you heard a lot of words like Allah, Muhammad, all these Islamic phrases as well, and you know, there was like awareness of black Muslims as well. So that's what I saw. So it didn't really seem, then it didn't seem like an unusual thing for a black person to say that he was a Muslim, even though Nation of Islam was a sort of different kind of branch. It wasn't like an unusual, like, oh, you're black and you're Muslim. It wasn't nothing unusual then. So that, for me, I saw that as something preparing me for what was to come, looking back at it. So there was that as well. And watching the documentary about Roots, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Roots. So basically, what Roots is a documentary showing what Africans went through, how they were enslaved, how they were brought to the Americas. Yeah, so basically in that documentary, I watched it many times as a child, but there was something in that documentary that I noticed which I didn't notice before. And that was a scene where one of the characters in the actual documentary, his name is Kunta Kinte, they showed him on the ship on his way to America. They showed like all these slaves that were on the ship. They were obviously distressed, they were crying, it was like just chaotic. And they showed him saying, yo, Ya Allah, oh Allah, please help me, help me. And then it made me think, oh, wow, like, it's another Muslim, you know, so a Muslim guy be taken from West Africa to the Americas. And immediately from then, I made that connection because I was taken to my family was taken to the Americas, or my ancestors were taken to the Americas. So it made me think, okay, perhaps my actual, generation were actually Muslims as well. So that actually made me quite keen to look into my heritage, just to find out what was going on, you know. During this time as well, I used to attend church as well. But I found it quite difficult at one stage. The reason being was there was different views. So I used to have the notion as a Christian that Jesus was the Son of God. And then all of a sudden I heard that Jesus is God. So I used to hear them sort of interchange. Jesus is God and the Son of God. For me, it didn't make sense. So I found myself sort of drawing away from the church. It didn't sustain me anymore. And on the other hand, I found an interest in Islam. And there was another particular time when I was with my friend. He's of Pakistani origin. And we was basically walking home from school, as we normally do. And on the way home, we went into this trainer shop. And I was looking at the trainers, And first we was both looking at the trainers, and then he went off to the back and he was talking to the shop owner. And I noticed they were conversing in Urdu, and they were conversing for quite a long time. And I was thinking, like, okay, what's going on? So after they conversed, we left the shop. He was walking. It was a bit silent. And then all of a sudden he started talking to me. You got to be a Muslim. You know, it's the best. You know, it's the only religion. You got to be a Muslim. And you know, if you want to go to hell, go to heaven, and all this. And I was like, what's going on here? And he said, no, you have to be a Muslim. You know, it's the way. And that, you know, he kept on saying you've got to be a Muslim. And he was saying that, you know, Muslims, they came to Europe, and you know, they influenced everyone in Europe. And before that, it was the Dark Ages, and he was going into one. And I was like, tell me something. Did that person say something to you in the shop? And he goes, yeah, to be honest, he did. So basically, the person was saying to him that he needs to give him dawah. If he's your friend, you need to show him about Islam. So after what he said to me, he said that, so do you want to become Muslim? And I said, no, I don't want to become Muslim. No, I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't want to. So because of that sort of conversation, I became keen on just doing a bit of research for myself. So I would basically look at a few books, but then I don't know, something happened. I didn't really follow it through. So I sort of had that interest, but I didn't follow it through. So I guess I just left it at that. And during that time, there was a big tune, a big jungle tune. I don't know if everyone's familiar with jungle. Basically, jungle is like, how can I explain this? It's a electronic tune. It's like
reggae speeded up about 45 times.
You could say that. There's a lot of reggae influence in it. It's very similar to garage, but faster, or grime. So there was a tune out in that era by a guy called UK Apache, and the tune was called Original Nutter. Now this guy, we used to see him in our area walking through. We used to say hello to him and stuff like that, but I never really sort of stopped to talk to him. So there's one particular time I saw him, as I normally do. I said hello, but this time, for some reason, he stopped me, and he asked me how I was, and I said, yeah, I'm alright, you know. And he asked me, what are you doing now? And I said, I'm not really doing anything, I'm just like on the street. So he goes to me, do you want to come to the mosque? Like, I was just completely baffled. I was like, this must be a sign from Allah. Like, why is this guy asking me this question? Why are you asking me if you want to come to the mosque? Like, I didn't tell you I was interested in Islam. Like, I just know you as some jungle singer. Like, I don't know you like that. So I goes, all right, yeah, let me go. So I went into the mosque, and when I stepped through those doors, it was like, I can't explain the feeling. I can't really articulate it in words, but I felt this tranquil feeling that I've never experienced in the church before. It felt quite tranquil. And basically I saw everyone like sort of praying and supplicating, and it was quiet, very quiet and peaceful. And I liked the feeling. I was like, this is something special right here. So after that, I started meeting up with him more often, and asking him questions about Islam and stuff as well. And then what was quite striking for me is that all the prophets that I was taught about as a young child, like from like Moses and Noah and Adam, they're all the same prophets that will believe in Islam. And it was quite shocking, because initially I thought that Islam was just like perhaps just an Eastern, I just associated like an Eastern religion and not really anything biblical. But to find out it was very similar to what I believed in before, you know, it felt like very familiar. So I also inquired about the position, you know, of Jesus. Like, so if Islam says this about all the prophets, you know, which I was taught in church, what does Islam say about Jesus? And to find out that they said that Jesus was a prophet rather than the Son of God, and made sense to me, because obviously before the issue I had was Jesus is God or Son of God. But as a prophet, that made perfect sense. So that was like, for me, that was like a revelation in itself, because it didn't seem like Islam was a new religion. It seemed like it was a next step for me. So after learning about the noble qualities of the Prophet Muhammad, it was very easy for me to accept him as a prophet, you know. So I went for that stage where I had the conviction and the belief in my heart, but I still didn't say those words. So every so often my friend will go to me, "Are you ready to take your shahada?" And Is that your phone, bro?
Not my phone.
Okay. Ringtone's interesting.
This is my phone.
Yes. I like the ringtone. Yeah, so every so often he would ask me, are you ready to take shahada? And I felt that I was stalling it for some reason. I really believed in my heart, but I felt that I didn't want to say those words. I don't know why I was holding on to them. But one day out of the blue, I just phoned him up and I said, you know what, I'm ready now. So I went to the mosque and I took my shahada and mashallah, became a Muslim, you know. And I didn't tell my family straight away, but they kind of sort of saw a change in me, and they saw my books collection piling up. You know, had books on what is Islam and all these other books, you know, and obviously some of them have got funny writing on it as they saw it. And so they would say, "Are you a Muslim?" And I say, "Well, yeah." And then obviously they'll tell my family members, and I think they thought it was like a little phase, you know, because every so often they ask, "No, are you still a Muslim? Are you still doing your Muslim thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, still doing it." So everything was absolutely fine until 9/11. When it happened, I got into a little altercation with my dad, and that's when things started to get serious, because he said to me, "Now, what is going on here? Now, what is this religion that you're following? Why are these people doing these things? You know, how can you be a part of this?" So, you know, I explained to him that there are some people that have these views, you know, in Islam, and they interpret the Quran in a different way, and it's not the views of the majority of Muslims. In fact, I don't actually agree with what they're doing, you know, and it's not right. So he was really upset, and he was like, you know, he couldn't really see what I was saying at the time. He couldn't see that that was a minority of people that were doing these things. He couldn't see it. So after a period of time, when he saw like the change in me, and he saw that the people that I was associated with, he realized that it was just a fraction of people who interpreted, you know, the Quran and, you know, use it to their own ideology as well. And I also gave an example as well of like the people who do things in the name of Christianity. For example, the slave masters that took the people to Africa, they done it in the name of Christianity. The Ku Klux Klan, they do it in the name of Christianity. So everyone has, you know, all these religious groups have their sort of, I don't know, they interpret the religion just to suit their bad intentions. So now, alhamdulillah, my dad is very accepting of me, and to show it on my birthday, he bought me a prayer mat and an ornament of the Kaaba as well, you know, just like a birthday, and you know. So basically that is it, man. That is it, really. Yeah, alhamdulillah. There is more. Okay, so you know what happens to me? Like when I tell like this story, there's parts that I miss out. There's parts that I miss out. So I always tell it a bit different. So okay. So that was my sort of journey to Islam. but I will admit, when I had Islam in my heart, there was a period of time where I was actually living two lives. So there was a life that was more of a street life, and there was a life that was obviously Islam. And it came to a point like where I knew that I couldn't juggle the two. So for example, I used to be a garage MC. I used to MC on various different pirate radio stations. And obviously being a garage MC, that would take you into certain situations. So that would be obviously in the club. So in the club, you know that there's lots of drinking of alcohol. There's lots of people that are doing promiscuous behaviour, and it got to a point where, like I was discussing with the brother earlier on, I'll be in the club, and for me, my experience was like everything will go quiet. People are almost moving in slow motion, like fully engrossed in their own world. And I'm like an observer, just looking at everyone. And I'll say to myself, I shouldn't be here. Like, I knew I shouldn't be here. It was quite surreal. And that will happen several times for about a few minutes, and then things go back to normal again as well. So that was like, for me, that was like Allah showing me that I shouldn't be in this environment. I shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, so like I said, I came to two. There was two roads in front of me, and I knew I couldn't walk the double line. Yeah. Sorry, man.
Okay, we're gonna inshallah open up for some questions for brother, inshallah. And there were lots of similarities in those who have come to Islam can resonate with the story. I know that when we were talking about house earlier on, I was like, this is the same journey that I took. This is the same thing, situation. You know, especially the club thing. I can, you know, it might sound strange to people, the exact same thing happened to me. I was in the club and the music suddenly went quiet and everybody around was still dancing, but there was no sound in my ears. And again, the same thing, like it was moving in slow motion. I'm like, the same thing came into my ear. What are you doing here? These are not your people. This is what it said to me. These are not your people. That's what it said to me when I was in the club. SubhanAllah. And then, you know, it was time. I couldn't do the okey cokey anymore. 1 foot in and 1 foot out. SubhanAllah. So, any questions for the brother? And we still haven't talked about how you made the transition. I'll ask the question. How did you make the transition then to carry on in the vein of performance, but now then put the Islamic twist on it?
Okay. So when I became a fully fledged Muslim, so when I was practicing, I decided not to even do music anymore. And I occupied my time with more like studying, reading and finding out more about Islam. But every so often, I would produce some songs in my room. And there was one particular song that I produced, and it was called Praise Up the Lord. And what I done, I put that on YouTube. And I noticed the response I got was quite positive. So I thought, okay, perhaps I can focus on doing music, you know, doing spoken word with a strong message. Because I still, even though I put, you know, down the MC, I still felt that urge for me to use the skills that I have, but in a positive way. But I didn't know how to sort of channel it or where to channel it as well. So after I done that particular song, I got a good response actually. And that was like 10 years later. So I waited a whole 10 years to even start thinking about doing something creative. And what exactly happened is that we were talking about Brother Rakim from the Cash Crew Mecca to Medina. He had, what he done, he put on a show, basically, which was Rakim and Friends. And because he noticed I had this particular tune, he asked me if I wanted to perform it on the night. To be honest, I was quite reluctant, I didn't want to perform. But he said, go on, you know. So I thought, okay, let me just give it a go. So he put on the show, and what happened, I actually arrived late. I was quite late for the show. And then it wasn't until like towards the end of the show I realized that my chance to perform was over. So what happened, so at the end of the show, there was like a question and answer period, yeah? Quite similar to this. And people were asking Rakim various questions about music and his performances and so forth as well. So my question basically was, why didn't I perform? Or am I going to be still performing? So he started laughing. It was quite cheeky, but then he asked me to perform there and then. So I performed, and from then I started doing regular shows at Mooney's Cave on the spoken words circuit. And by a couple of years, I was doing it quite often. And then after that, I've got an album. Yeah, so.
Let's hear something, yeah. Come on.
Any questions?
Let me hear something.
I'll take some questions first. Sister, just a question.
Did you have any difficulty with the transition from, the lifestyle where, I don't know if this is your experience, but like dealing with emotional problems just by like smoking weed, drinking, all of those sorts of things?
Brother never said you smoked weed.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm just assuming. I'm just talking about myself, if I'm going to be honest.
Or being around that lifestyle.
Yeah, I am a convert, so I know what, that club environment is like. So I'm just wondering if you have like any difficulties moving away from that and finding like new strategies to just cope and stuff.
Yeah.
To have that experience.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes. No, that's fine. It was difficult because when you do something for a long period of time, it does become a habit.
Yeah.
And if your friends are doing the same thing as well,
Yeah.
it's even more harder.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it was quite gradual.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because I was just completely like
Yeah.
stopped, and that was very hard.
Yeah. Do you know what I've done? I asked a friend for some advice in regards to that. In regards to like recreational.
Yeah.
So his advice to me was do it gradually. I'm not sure if that's the best advice, but to me that actually works.
I think for me, so I've already like gone too far away from it to ever go back.
Yeah.
So I've renewed strategies and stuff, like counselling, therapy and stuff,
Okay.
to build myself up to make those strategies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like really good advice for anybody just coming into this,
Yeah.
take it really slowly. I spoke to somebody and they spoke to Hakeem, and they were having difficulties, and Hakeem actually said like, your nervous system is just in shock because you were in this one environment and now you're in this
All of
environment.
a sudden,
And your body's just like, so yeah, definitely. And that's like the sunnah advice, isn't it?
Slowly.
So, yeah.
The sister was echoing the fact that when you take your shahada, it's about development. It isn't an epiphany and just a moment. It's about stages for you. And it's about growth, inshallah ta'ala. I just want to ask the brother, why did you particularly stay within the Caribbean patois thing? Why was that important? Because other people have come to perform and they've stuck with pure English? Or why was that important just to speak with your mother tongue, as it were?
I do it because I feel that it's a part of me. And what is so beautiful about Islam as well, when you see like different nations as well doing Islamic songs in their own mother tongue, it's a beautiful thing to see. So I just thought as a Caribbean Muslim, it would be nice to have Islamic songs in a Caribbean dialect, just so people can appreciate something new and different.
We hear some of the songs.
Yes.
What was your question?
We hear some of the songs.
Yes. Well, right now.
Inshallah.
I think it is Maghrib time now.
The Maghrib.
After Maghrib, it's Maghrib time. 3 minutes, so it's not a good time now to. After Maghrib, inshallah, I'd love to hear it properly,
The brother's on a tight schedule to get back,
What time
to
did
get
he
the
leave?
train.
All
Go
right.
back, so
Yeah.
if he can do something now, he might leave him afterwards. Bismillah, can I just ask, no disrespect, just want to hear the brother, inshallah. He's volunteered to do this, inshallah.
The night journey, 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 the night journey done by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ascension to the heavens. Pant up the barak, the steed we speed the heavenly creature. With the general and the angel, them Jibril and teacher. Pon the night journey, 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 the night journey. The night journey, holy cardio surgery with Jibril and Mikael, them pon the medical team. Them take his arms and water and wash your blessed heart. Bless him from the Lord, Lord of the Alameen. Pon the night journey, the night journey, the night journey, the night journey. The night journey, the night journey, the night journey, first of Jerusalem, Beit al-Maqdis, praise of Allah and offer salah, the Muslim practice, and upon that night, the Prophet lead the prayer, Baka him 124,000 ampere upon the night journey, 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 the night journey. What a big mercy with the original daily prayer, 50, 40, 30, then down to 20, but Musa said it was plenty, so down to 10 and finally 5. We prayed that day and night because of the night journey, the night journey, the night journey. Sing along, the night journey, the night journey, the night journey, the night journey. All the angels said to Mahmoud, we have to inform you about the hijama. It's a thing that should be done by your nation. Ficum, it's a heavenly remedy from the Almighty One. Night journey, the night journey, the night.
Allah